everybody, I am Tommy, and you are on the lifeboat. Do me a favor, everybody, and smack that like button. There's a lot of you in here, and very few of you have hit it. Starting to hurt my feelings. I'm not going to lie to you. Lisa Palmer, good to see you. Anani, how are you? Chef Brian, how are you? People, if you've never gone over and checked out Chef Brian's channel, do it. You'll thank me later, especially if, like me, you respect anybody in the culinary arts that's got game. I am trying to become a culinary gangster. My wife actually bought me a, what do they call it? Apron that says culinary gangster on it, which I really dig. Christy Collins, good to see you. How are you? Mary Elizabeth Carney Quinn from balmy New Jersey. Yeah, it's pretty balmy here today too. Streamer, yeah, check this out. Tell me this is not awesome. Chef, you cannot tell me you're not jealous of that. Look at that. Tommy Scoville, culinary gangster. I have more fun cooking than almost anything that I do. I don't know that I'm particularly great at it yet, but boy, I have a lot of fun doing it. I really do enjoy it. Cindy G, good to see you. Laura Lou, how are you? Edward from San Pedro, California. Jason, I'm glad that you're here. Welcome. Lisa Wren for warm and windy in Wyoming. Oregon, Grandma Sue. Sikorsky, good afternoon to you too. Kathy, how are you? Yeah, that is seriously cool. B Rose, I'm glad you're here. Broken Goth Doll. I enjoy the eating part better. Well, I'm a pretty big fan of the eating part too. I'm not going to lie to you. G-Man, how are you? Hey, Randy Gord. Confident Joy. Hey, Link. Amsterdam. I've been there. Cheryl, good to see you. Lisa Palmer, how are you? Beth Galloway, good to see you. Everybody, we have almost 200 people in here, so do me a favor and smack that like button and hit the subscribe and hit the bell for notification. And in theory, when I go live, you ought to know about it. Look at that. We got New Zealand. We're bad and we're international. Always chasing the rain. You in the Pacific Northwest? Hello, Bama. I got a gangster mapper t-shirt. Oh, nice. Lottie, good to have you here. Hey, Rachel, lurking in Denver. Nothing wrong with a little lurking. Napper, that makes more sense. Roddy, good to have you here, Roddy. I'm glad that you're here. Christy Wolf, how are you? Jason, good to have you here. All right, let's get this show on the road. I'm getting frustrated to beat hell with this. How are you? I'm getting just a little bit frustrated. Kelly from Pennsylvania, I'm glad that you're here. Honestly, sometimes you get embarrassed to be doing true crime for a living. Krista Melinda, good to see you. There's just so much going on in this that is frustrating beyond possibility. Good. I'm glad, Christy Wolf. Skeeter, good to see you. So many names. Great to see everyone. I agree. First of all, the amount of crap I get for saying that the person that I like most for this case is Neckbeard, I got news for you. I'm really going to try to say this nicely. If that bothers you so much, go away. I'm not accusing the person of doing this. I'm saying with the cast of characters that we are looking at currently, that is the person that I like most. They didn't give us much to go on this. They haven't told us where the point of entry is. They haven't told us squat. So we have a cast of characters. By the way, somebody said to me earlier, they think that this thing with Neckbeard and his wife, they were trying to block what they were saying so that no one could read their lips. I hadn't heard that theory, and I kind of like it. It could be, it could absolutely, still plenty of folks eyeing Neckbeard. I agree. But the ones that decide that they're not like to tell me I'm stupid and say some really ugly things to me. And I swear to you, I will banish you to the world of I never have to see you again quicker than you can say premature ejaculation. Are you with me? 230 of you in here. Do me a favor, smack that like button, hit subscribe, and hit the bell for notification. It really does help. I want to see Dominic Evans' teeth. I don't blame you. Somebody else said that in an email that I got. So here's the other thing that frustrates the hell out of me. I'm not coming on here just to get paid. Whether you believe that or not, I really am not. If you don't believe that, go look at the stuff I do that's not on Nancy Guthrie because I don't get paid on it. I make very little on those, but they are things that need to be talked about, right? They really do need to be talked about. These are cases that we're going to be following whether you like it or not because they are absolutely true crime gems, right? Like the gentleman that killed the 3 people in Utah. We're going to be talking about that one way or the other. Roberta, good to see you. I'm glad that you are here. Hey, look at that. It's Rip Curl. What's up, my brother? So a lot of people are still reporting on this body that was found in Phoenix, right? Because, well, hell, it's a great thumbnail. And if you say this could be it, or bombshell or something like that, then you're going to get 30 or 40,000 views on it, and it's going to pay a lot of money. But here's what it comes down to. On the morning of March 6th, a woman's body was discovered near a canal in Phoenix, Arizona, specifically around the 28th Street and Oak Street, or 27th Place and Grand Canal Trail in some reports. The woman showed signs of trauma and was pronounced dead at the scene. She was identified on March 8th. But here's the one that blows me away. She's 42. And she was not in the canal. She was near the canal. So this isn't a water-soaked body, right? This is not a water-soaked body that has puffed up and turned into something that is unidentifiable. And that does happen. Water can do some really rugged things to bodies. If you've ever seen somebody pulled out of water, it's horrific. In the old days, they used to take Navy SEALs and put a number this big on them. Used to go right along. They called it the meat number or the meat tag, because if you're found, you're going to be found in water. And by the time they find you, that's probably going to be the only thing you'll be able to read, right? So I'm not going to come on here and do that kind of thumbnail, but you're going to see a lot of thumbnails about it today. 42? How in hell did they look at a 42-year-old and go, yeah, this could be her? I mean, this is people trying to get paid because they have to come up with a new story every day that they can go in the thumbnail on, right? And that's depressing. And I don't bust.
Harvey Levinism.
Yeah, it's a Harvey Levinism, to be sure. And I don't bust on other content creators. I don't. However, I stop in and look at these other content creators because I find it important from time to time, especially if someone happens to be near the scene, to go and check out exactly what is going on, right? So I went and checked out somebody that is very, very popular these days. I'll leave it at that. Hey, Scoob. And when I went and checked him out, he was 19,000 people in the chat and was talking to a digital voice concerning a bank loan and things like that, and just teasing like he's picking on a digital voice. And I said to my brother, you got to be kidding me that there are 19,000 people that are watching this. Like, he's getting paid to do this. How is this anything having to do with true crime or anything along that nature? Normally, you would watch that number drop. It went from 19 to 20 to 21. And I said to my brother, I swear to God, I want to drive a truck. If this is what true crime has become, it's enough to make you bail. Her name was Alex Flemings. Phoenix police are investigating her death, but no further details on cause or suspects have been released. So I understand people speculating on this. Now it's getting a little late to speculate, right? We're now absolutely sure that this person has been identified. Nevertheless, I'm going to get a crap load, and I do mean a crap load of people that are going to ask me, hey, they found a body. You know that, right? And I know that a lot of you don't catch, the ones I'm talking to now catch me all the time. However, when the show is over and 1,000 people have seen this, between 3,000 to 10,000 more people are going to see it. And they don't watch me all the time. So they cherry pick certain things, but they come in and don't understand the deal. How often does a kidnapping victim, Dateline NBC, on all their socials? Little ironic. Oh, follow Dateline NBC. Yeah, this is a case that is going to have all of us scratching our head, right? Annie Guthrie and Tomato have strange connections to some strange characters, like the web of characters you put together yesterday. By full disclosure, I highlighted a web of connections that someone else put together and did great research on. I'm never going to steal someone's research, I promise you. And I will happily, if you do not believe that Neckbeard did this, you're still my friend. And I would absolutely love to hear your theory. I will highlight it, right? I will happily listen to any other theory because that is what we do. However, I'm not going to catch crap for my theory. I'm not. And until I get something that makes me think otherwise, I'm sorry, but that's kind of where I think it is. Surprised they haven't done a Dateline episode or a 2020 episode on this case yet. Oh, it's coming, Jason. It is coming. I lived right next to one of the one in Phoenix. He's talking about the canals. The places are perfect dumping spots for criminals. Make no mistake, they are. They absolutely are. And they are also in Texas, which is why we're seeing all of those bodies that are becoming dumped down there in Texas. I believe Savannah and Cameron were sent home because they're maybe biased and they need to focus on Tommaso and Annie. That's a theory. I also think that, and this is something that may not sink in yet, right? It was not Nancy McKenna. It was a 42-year-old woman named Alex Fleming, nowhere near the age, about half of her age. I finally got to see it live. This is the Beth channel on YouTube. Well, Michelle, that is such a cool thing to say. I really do appreciate the hell out of that. My thoughts on Sleuth and Monk. I think they do incredible work. What do you think of that? Space Mog, clickbait? Absolutely not. I said, what does it mean? Right? There's a body found. What does it mean? Yesterday, they determined who this body was. I'm trying to tell you who this was because they're going to clickbait it for the next 6 days. And it's going to have a picture like this. Right? Body found. I'm not clickbaiting. Maybe go and check out some of the other stuff that you'll see as clickbait that says this person is guilty. This person confessed. Yeah, you use this word often. I'm not sure if you know what this word means. I like Sleuth and Monk. I think they do incredible work. I differ on some things. For instance, let's talk about Monk's intrigue. Sleuth's intuition does great research. Monk intrigue does as well. But Monk did a show on Derek Kayea, and he called it Catch 22. He said Derek Kayea has to take the pinch. He has to get arrested on this because if he admits that he had anything to do with this, he's going to go away for a lot more time. And that simply isn't anywhere near the truth. And you kind of have to be a dirtbag to understand exactly what the FBI is going to do in a situation like this. But the FBI would give him a plane ticket home and a bag of weed if he were to say, I wasn't at the scene of the murder, but they asked me to get involved to just catch the Bitcoin, and I don't want to go down for this. I promise you, you're getting a golden ticket home, right? For real. They will absolutely give the first person that comes forward on this, providing they were not at the scene of the abduction or the murder, right? It's a tangential kind of association. If they're not dead center in the middle of this crime, you can walk. You can walk. Now, it won't look that way on paper. They'll say he was given 10 years in big letters. And then it will say all but 9 years and, 700, 600 days are suspended, right? You're not going to do a full year in there. They're going to leave you in a county jail for under 365 days and suspend the rest of the sentence. It'll look great, but this is what the FBI does. Think of Salvatore Gravano. The man admitted to 19 murders and did less than 5 years in prison for it. Right? The FBI, when they want the people that did something wrong, will bury the people for that. But I absolutely love both of their channels, and I think they're talented as hell. I gave them credit when I did the show on the sex cult because I absolutely believe that anybody that does that kind of research should get the credit for it. I find it incredible that they chased all of that down the way that they did. I think they're very talented. Do you know for sure if Annie's car has been returned? I've been seeing mixed things online, and I can't get a clear answer. To be honest, I will tell you tonight, because I have not made the call. It is exhausting to wait on hold forever for the Pima County Sheriff's Office to get their the people that give you this information. The last time I did it was 3 days ago? 3 days ago, they had not returned the car. It had been reported on a lot of different places that the car had been returned. It had not yet. But I can't speak with any authority to what has happened in the last 3 days. But I promise I'll chase it down before tonight. These people, yeah, Savannah has children and a hubby. I would think they have lives. This is sad but true, right? How long can you stick around, right? How long can you stick around? Miss Vespa, I promise you, you will. Would you ever do a thorough show on AI and how to detect it? Boy, that's a great idea. That is really a great idea. Tommy, who do you like for the JonBenet Ramsey murder? Do you think they will ever solve the case? I think that that's a great example that you can compare very much to the one that we're looking at currently, where it was so mismanaged. In the first 2 weeks, right, maybe 3, they came out and said, we've eliminated the family of suspects. Dumb, right? Burke did it. If you want my opinion, that is my opinion. And I think that the reason the parents look so sketchy, the reason that when you see people like the behavior panel or anybody that takes a look at what people do with body language and what people do with facial expressions, the people that pull that apart always say that JonBenet's parents looked guilty. And there was a lot made about the letter that may have been written by Patsy Ramsey or not. I think that what you're seeing is a mother that was trying to protect a son from a daughter that she lost. They were trying to not lose 2 kids on the same day. But I am of the firm belief that she was killed by her brother. Thanks, Tommy. Always trying to keep the truth coming. I appreciate your work on this. Well, you're welcome. It's frustrating. Yeah, I think a lot of people believe that Burke was the one that did this. It screams Burke. Doesn't mean he did it. But if you ask me who I like for it, I like Burke. He hit her in the head with a flashlight for taking the pineapple. I can't speak to exactly why he did what he did. What I can say is, in my humble opinion, the suspect that looks best for this is Burke. Just like I say, in my humble opinion, the suspect I like the best for this is Neckbeard. There's an excellent chance it's going to come out that it isn't him. I won't apologize then. I've never accused this man of doing anything. There is a cast of characters. Right now, that cast of characters has swelled to about, 7 or 8 people, right? Of those 7 or 8 people, as a true crime guy, who do I like the most? Neckbeard, right? I like Tommaso, and that is how it is going to be. And for those who were offended that I call him Neckbeard, the truth of the matter is the first time that I said that, I couldn't think of the damn guy's name, man. I brain fart constantly. Thank you, Janice. I really appreciate that. Just because Annie didn't cry, Susan Smith, Lacey. No, it's not because Annie didn't cry. That's not why. I start out just with playing the numbers game, right? I start out with playing the numbers game, and the numbers game is who was the last person to see the victim before they were killed or before they were abducted, right? Where was she? She went from Annie's house, was brought home by either Annie or her husband. So to me, they're, and 8 out of 10 times it's going to be family. So to me, they're the best bet. Doesn't mean I'm right. Tommy, what do you make of the Internet Crimes Against Children team showing up? Delighted to catch you live. Well, I'm glad you caught a live too. Here's something that most people. Hey, Sierra Terry, I am always honored when you get here. I really am. I love it when you are here. Thank you, Sierra Terry, for all that you do. So here's the thing about the Internet Crimes Against Children. They're the Babe Ruth of tracking things down on telephones and online. And that's where you would want the Babe Ruths of that kind of work being, right? You'd want them tracking down crimes against children. But they get called in all the time. People have reported they get called in for senior citizens. They do. They also get called in for people in their 30s. If you need really fast information from the internet for what people are doing online, you call in ICAC because they are better at this than anybody in the world. They didn't call them in my humble opinion, because they thought it was child molestation or child pornography. And this has been reported, right? I shouldn't say reported. There have been opinions on this. There have been thumbnails on this, that this had to be a child sex crime because ICAC wouldn't be there. There's no truth to that. I've seen them show up at all kinds of crimes because they're just the best in the world at that kind of investigation. When you think someone is missing and you think there's a chance you're going to get them back alive, you call in the best. And the best may have ICAC on the side of their car, right? Or on their shirts. And that's, in my opinion, what happened on that. Do you think it's Neckbeard on the porch cam or somebody else? I'm no good at that. I'm just keeping it 100% real, right? I am no good at that. Yes, Burke did win a huge lawsuit because you have to be very careful in how you say things. You may notice that from time to time I go, allegedly. Sean Diddy Combs sued a bunch of people online and then put injunctions on a bunch of people online. And at the time, I'm not kidding, of the top 10 people that were talking about Diddy every day, I was one of them. I had a show on a channel with 1 million subscribers once a week where I went on and talked about Diddy. I was on every panel you could find. I was knee deep in the Diddy thing. And although my name was mentioned and even a show that I was on was mentioned, I was the only person in that show that they didn't go after because I say allegedly a lot. And it may sound silly as shit, but that covers you. I never said that Tommaso is guilty of this, and I never will. You'll never hear me say anybody is guilty of anything until after they get convicted. Or if it is so painfully obvious, like Sean Combs is a rapist. There you go. And I'm not going to say somebody's clear either. But I will tell you right now, Sean Diddy Combs is a rapist. I'm not going to say allegedly. Let him take me into court and let's do some discovery, right? Let that fool sit down and let lawyers go after him for discovery. But I don't do that very often because it is absolutely irresponsible. I don't do it. I give opinions, right? And if somebody says something else and I talk about those, I will say, well, allegedly, this person said that. Because you can get hemmed up bad by saying, so-and-so said this guy. Yeah, you got to be really careful with that stuff. Yeah, Burke won a lot of money. You really have to be careful with how you do what you do. It was not Nancy. It was a 42-year-old woman. So by way of full disclosure, it wasn't even close to her. And she was not in water. She was near water. So they didn't walk up and go, well, this could be an 84-year-old woman. This is just, there are people that are sitting and watching the what we used to call the police blotter, right? So the police tell you every day what's happening. We found a body down by this. Every time that happens, someone's going to come out and they're going to do and they're going to talk about it and go, hey, there's a body found, because it pays the bills. Do you think that Stockton Police Department will ever arrest the mass shooting perps that killed the 3 kids and young adults back in November? I feel Stockton just gets written off. I do think they will. I do think they will. Absolutely. And I don't believe that they're not currently working their ass off. There isn't a very famous person involved in that case. If there was, the whole world would know. Hey, Monk, good to see you, my brother. I'm always glad when you are here. I don't think Neckbeard was alone by a long shot. Well, everyone now, right? Even the people, I said literally, you can go back and watch my earliest shows on this. And I said, I just do not like this as a one-person crime, because I don't come at this from the cop angle. I come at it from the criminal angle. And if somebody said to me, I'm going to pay you whatever, $50K. I want you to go snatch a woman. She's 84 years old. You're going to go take her from her house. There's no way in hell I would do that crime alone. Now, way of full disclosure, not my kind of crime. I didn't like victims in that sense of the word. And I'm not saying I didn't victimize tellers when I robbed banks. I never threatened them. I didn't bring a gun. I didn't say I was going to hurt anybody. Nevertheless, I scared the crap out of them, and that is victimization. I'm not stupid. But I certainly wasn't going to break into an 84-year-old woman's house and grab her out of bed. There's no amount of money that would get me to do that. But if I had been hired as a criminal to do that, I would have wanted a getaway driver, and I wanted somebody to go inside with me, because the woman could pass out. The woman could freak out and not want to go with me. And I don't care if you're 84. You're not going to kick the crap out of me. I'm 6'2" and 220 pounds, but I'm not going to be able to pick you up and easily carry you out the door if you're flipping out. Now, Johnny Scoville and I, right? We got 400 pounds of Scoville. We could probably get her out of there pretty easily. So to me, this was always a 3-man crime. They went allegedly, right? The back door was wide open. So my gut says they went through the back door. I know we keep seeing the guy at the front. I think his job was to knock out the camera so that a car could pull up right in front of that Nest Cam, and they wouldn't say Subaru Outback, blue in color, last 2 years model, right? That's what they didn't want. So I think his job was just to get rid of that camera. They brought her out through the front door. A lot of people like to debate this, but there's blood on the front steps, right? So to me, they brought her out the front door. Why would you do that? You have a much better chance of being seen taking someone out the front door. But if the car pulls up front and that's where you're taking her, then it makes a lot more sense to go the 25 feet from the front door to the car than it does going around the back of the house to get to the car. I'm just thinking like a criminal, people. I'm not saying I'm right, but that's how it makes sense to me as a ex-crim. There are different jammers. Could it be they're interested in tracking on the car? Lack thereof. Jammer was used for the car. I'm not sure a jammer was used at all. I think, and I'm not trying to be a jerk, but I'm of the firm belief that this is just another story that they like to run with. So the camera runs on 2.4 hertz, and the base of your Wi-Fi runs at 5.1, something like that. That jammer would jam both of those signals. So why do we have an image of the guy on the front porch? If they were using a jammer, that shouldn't have been able to upload at any point. It shouldn't have been able to record. It shouldn't have been able to do anything. That would have been overwhelmed by the jammer. Now they're saying, as of today, and I'm not going to run with this and say, new evidence, this could break the case. But they're saying that somebody broke into the green box. Now, you guys all know what green boxes are, because if you live in the United States, there's one probably 60 feet from your house. It holds telephone, it holds cable, it holds internet, all of those things traditionally these days in fiber optic, right? And now they're suggesting that somebody went in there and messed with that as a way to disable the fiber optic so that no alarms would be able to report this. If that is the truth, then Nanos is such an asshat, we're in real trouble. If 35 days into this investigation, you figure out that somebody cut these lines, we're in deep, deep trouble in terms of this ever being solved. You see where I'm coming for this? That's a really serious problem. And disclaimer, everything I say is just my opinion and allegedly. Look, everything I do is opinion. I've gotten through a lot of cases and people don't sue me. I don't accuse people of doing things. I say who I like for a crime. And I do not shout down, or I do not put up dissenting opinions. Somebody said that to me today. You will never put up opinion that doesn't agree with you. What are you talking about? I want to hear everybody's theory. right? I want to. Is it really true that Neckbeard was appointed power of attorney over Nancy's estate? I can't find that anywhere. The only thing I can find about power of attorney when I research this is that Neckbeard gave power of attorney to his wife, Annie, 8 months ago, right? By the way, this stuff is done all the time. Let's say you had to be out of town for something and your wife is signing for a real estate deal or anything like that. You can sign over power of attorney to her so that that can happen. This seems a little bit bigger than that. Like everything in his life was basically signed over power of attorney to Annie. And that is odd. But a lot of people report on that he had control of all of her assets. I can't find that anywhere. Jumping on the boat to escape work for a bit. I love that. I'm sorry, I do. I love that. Poor sweet John Bonet will never get justice. I am afraid you're probably right on that. I would love to believe that they're going to get justice. I think it'll be one of those things where we're going to be 70 years old, 80 years old, and they're going to say, we finally got a break in this. The Lufthansa heist, right? We're all familiar with this from Goodfellas. There has now been an arrest in the Lufthansa heist. It took 4 decades, right? Almost 5 decades to make an arrest on that. I think at some point it will happen, but it's certainly not going to make us feel good. The logic of $1 million reward and still no clues should mean no one else was involved. I agree with you. That's logical as hell. It really is. It's logical as hell. But I'm just looking at this like an ex-crim. And the way that guy went to the front door and tried to eliminate that camera, right? To me, that screams one of two things, right? They don't want to be filmed when somebody pulls up. So you're going to go in there, zip tire, go get your car, and then drive it up? That doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. And if she's dead, the 3 people involved, they ain't getting that $1 million if they turn her in. That's capital murder, and they're not getting any of that money. So what we're trying to pick off is not the 3 people, in my opinion. 3, might be 2, who knows? But it's not going to be the conspirators that were involved in the felony murder. It's going to be somebody else that knows about it, right? A girlfriend. Criminals have a way of doing this. And sometimes it isn't even logical. They'll just say, criminals always owe somebody money. Always. Again, hate to go back to Goodfellas. But have you ever heard, in Goodfellas when he goes, we'd run up $25,000 bets with the bookies. And then if they didn't pay off, we would go to the Shylocks, the loan sharks, get the money to pay it back. And when the money got too big, we'd go and rob something. Most criminals owe somebody money. So the odds that they say to a criminal, look, man, I know I owe you 10 grand, but I got a big score coming up and you're going to get paid. Then they don't get paid. That person starts going, I could wait on this jackwagon for my 10,000, or I could call the tip line and say, this might be him, man. Right? He's been missing for days. This could be, that's the kind of person that's going to turn them in. I don't think it's going to be somebody that is intimately involved in the crime, right? Google has all the footage. And if they do, then they're probably not using a jammer. Do you see where I'm going with that? Can't swim. Do I get a life vest? No, I will hop over the edge and drag you in. Do not fear. I will never let anybody drown. I shouldn't say that. There's somebody that sent me an email earlier. If she falls overboard, we're going to flick lit cigarettes down there. Silly question. Are the majority of law enforcement truly wanting to solve this? Do they feel our intense feelings and want this done? Absolutely they do. Absolutely they do. And you know how we know this? We know this because leaks come out where people talk about feeling the frustration of having a boss that seems to be C-blocking you the entire way in this investigation, right? There are people in the rank and file that are out there fighting like hell. They go to sleep at night and can't sleep because they feel like they're dropping the ball on this. I promise you. And look, whenever I talk bad about police or anything else, I'm not talking about the rank and file. I'm not talking about the detectives that are out there trying to make this happen with less than 2 years experience, because all of the people that did this for a living were run off, right? Confident Joy, I believe they went in the back door. And that is just from I have nothing to go on other than the fact that if I'm breaking into a house, I sure as shit am not doing it through the front door, right? I don't care what time of day it is. I'm doing it through the back door. And in a place like the Catalina foothills, no one sees your back door. No one. The way those homes are set up and established, I've never been in a house in the Catalina foothills where you step out the back door, you can see roofs, right? You can see the top of houses, but there's never a place where people are staring at you. It's very much designed to be a neighborhood but feel like you're out in the middle of nothing. I promise you, the reason that those people, the reason that the internet crimes against kids were there is definitely because they are just so damn good at it. And that's not a silly question, Confident Joy. Why didn't they look at the green box? That's really an interesting question, isn't it? For a month. Are you kidding me? The porch perp couldn't talk at all correct, had a flashlight in mouth. Wouldn't you need someone to be able to bark orders at Nancy? She's almost deaf. Or they went in like ninjas. They probably would have gotten really loud once they got into the bedroom. 500 of you in here, do me a favor. Smack that like button. Leave a little DNA on it. If you're worried about that, put on a glove, right? And then do me a favor. Hit subscribe and hit the bell for notification. I should write a book. Loretta Hauser, Johnny Scoville will take care of that. I'm not a good writer. What is my theory on the Idaho 4 case? That it is solved. I'm working on that. Questioning. Some of Tommaso's reasoning, just a thought, but could be have worried about the foolish ICE stuff. No chance in hell. And I'm not, he went about this the right way. If you marry somebody in the United States and you do not have a really, really bad criminal record, you are a citizen, right? Tommy, I need a trademark. In your opinion, is Charlie still above ground? Which Charlie are we talking about, Flinner? Are we talking about, well, Charlie Kirk? Oh, no, I do not think Charlie Kirk is above ground. That would have been the greatest Hollywood staged event, and there were a lot of people sitting there watching it. I do not believe Charlie Kirk is still alive. I think he was a man of unbelievable integrity, whether you liked his political views or not. He believed very strongly in what he did. I don't think he was a guy that would happily disappear. I don't believe that there's any chance of that. Not in my heart. I believe that that he is dead, and I think it's absolutely horrific. Now, there is still a process. My point, Jay Cruz, is that there's no chance in hell if you marry a U.S. citizen and you don't have a record that you won't become a U.S. citizen. That's my point. Sorry that I didn't say there's absolutely paperwork you have to get. You're going to have to do an apostolized record from your home country. It's exactly what I'm doing right now here, except I didn't marry anybody locally. There's obviously paperwork. My point is he's not in here illegally. I promise you. You know how you usually can tell when someone is in the country legally? They have a job at a school, right? People that come into the country illegally don't have the ability to work the way he's working. If you come into a country illegally and you get a job, that's how you're going to get caught really quickly. Yeah, no problem, Jay Cruz. Johnny has a book already written. Perfectly me. Good to see you. He has a book already written. And he would release it tomorrow if I let him. I feel bad for my mom releasing that book, to just be honest. Any chance the guy had gold or silver teeth and it wasn't a flashlight? One day at a time. That was actually my first theory. It is absolutely a flashlight. And if you watch the video closely, as you watch him walk up, you will see in the beginning, the light is coming out of his mouth. And right as he gets to the entryway, he knows exactly when to stop biting that light, right? That happens. Why, thank you. That's your cat, you know. This is a boat, Flinner. This is a boat. You're on the boat. Nanos has made such a mess of the investigation. Not sure perps will ever pay for this crime. Nanos could write a book on how to tip off criminals. You're right. The criminals will pay for this crime. The question is, how long will it take? The FBI is vicious about getting their guy. I promise you they are. They're vicious about it. The great example of this is 5 years it took to get the guy that was setting off those bombs in Washington, D.C. And everybody in the world was lambasting the FBI and saying, boy, they just let that happen. Terrorists can do whatever they want. I can't say terrorist either. There's a word I don't work in very often, but you can't say terrorist. They're going to get away with whatever they want in our capital. The whole time we thought they were doing nothing, they took a bomb apart that did not go off. They tested the powder, found out who made the powder, what batch it was, where it was sold, did the same thing with wires. And they found a cluster of a bunch of people, a bunch of products that were bought in the same place. Then they went and pulled all of that security footage. They are very, very good. Why did I choose Ecuador? They spend American dollars. That was a huge thing for me. There's no exchange rate where, hey, Angie Barnes, where I could wake up one day and find out that my life savings is decimated because the peso crash to nothing and I've got my money in a bank and basically in pesos. That's a frightening thing to me. And on the other side of that, it is absolutely beautiful, right? The city that I live in is called the Miami of South America, and it does look remarkably like Miami. I live on a little peninsula. At the end of that peninsula, I researched all of these places. I get very into it. At the end of this peninsula is their Army, their Navy, their Air Force, their Marines, their SEALs, right? 60,000 guys with machine guns. So if anything ever breaks off in a country, I want to be as close as possible to the guys that are going to put that fire out. So where I live doesn't have crime. I mean, people get pickpocketed, but there is the crime here is less than any place I've ever lived in my life. I'm not exaggerating. I've never lived anywhere where I feel more secure than I do in Salinas. I can walk around at 2:30 in the morning, and I've made videos of it. I can walk around at 2:30 in the morning. You or Reese have any videos of the area? Yeah, Jay Cruz, you can go and look it up. I look in my shorts. I did a lot. Johnny Scoville over at Chase the Heat's done a lot. I almost went live today. I was walking down the Malecone and I said to Johnny, I think I might go live. And he said, if you're not going to stay on long enough, it's probably a waste of time. I was going to be mocking the person that came in here yesterday and said, I heard you're in Brazil. I was just going to show, 200 license plates that said Ecuador on it and say, Johnny and I worked this out last night. We're giving everybody that has an Ecuadorian plate $2 to show up today. But I've got a lot out there. In fact, the New Year's celebration, if you have not seen that, our little peninsula has anywhere between 40 to 60,000 people on it at any given time. It had over 2 million people on it on New Year's, and they were all lighting off fireworks at the same time. Our fireworks display went from about 11:30 to 5:30 in the morning, and it never stopped. It was absolutely remarkable. My beautiful bride was here. In fact, that picture was taken on New Year's. That is a New Year's picture. The first video I watched was Johnny's testimony. That's what you call true brotherly love. Yeah, he's the best brother you could ever have. I really was blessed that way, man. I'd be arrested for looking in your shorts. Nonsense. People do it all the time. Don't tell Reese that. I would have loved it even as a replay crew. Love the beach. And today is the most beautiful day in the world. I promise you I'll do a live. You all better show up. No, AVAC, you never owe me a sorry, man, ever. Hopefully Donald doesn't take a liking to Ecuador like Cuba, Canada, etc. The only thing he's done to take a liking here is to provide them with much better intel for getting rid of some of the people that are really hurting people. Do me a favor, Wrench. See this asshole? Make him disappear so that I never have to see him again. Thank you. Good looking out. Do it again, just in case I undid it. The one that just said, what the fuck is with the clickbait title? It would be that guy. Thank you. The clickbait title is this. That person was 42 years old. Her name is Alex. What was it? Fleming? Yeah, Alex Fleming. Yesterday, her body was identified, and she is not Nancy Guthrie. Did everybody catch that? If you're just getting here, it's not Nancy Guthrie. It was a 42-year-old, which means there was never even a chance of it looking like Nancy Guthrie. But people are going to run with these every single time, right? And I believe the title said there was a body found. What does this mean? It means absolutely nothing. That's not clickbait. Zero tolerance for a-holes. You're damn right. I got zero tolerance. And people like AVAC, right, make this possible that I can be this guy. I'm sorry. A lot of people really have to put up with a lot of crap. I don't at all. I don't worry about the views. I don't worry about the clicks. I worry about the people that watch me. I'm not going to censor my speech, and I'm not going to let an asshole come in here and mess up what we're having a pretty good time with, right? I have no patience for that. Free speech is alive and well on my porch, but it's my free speech. I'll let anybody that wants to be respectful say anything they want. That wasn't respectful, and you can go to the land of bye-bye. Thank you to my mods who work so hard, and just so that everybody knows, look at this. These people are absolutely sponsoring free speech, and I love it. I really do. You all have been life-changing. Once you stop caring, I'm shocked by the number of people that have showed up. Hey, Cliff Ann. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Heavenly Heather Lane. Oh, what a kind thing to say. What a kind thing to say. Joey girl, good to see you. By the way, folks, I'll be really honest. I'm having a very good time doing YouTube, and a time had come when I wasn't having any fun doing it. And it was because I had to censor myself and do things that didn't feel right. and I'm never going to do that again. And the day may come where it stops paying because I do this. And you know what? It's not going to change. It's not. I'm very happy being me and speaking like a human being. Grape, she was graped. It's never going to happen. I got like 200 people in Arizona for sex trafficking. Little redneck, 200 people in Arizona got busted for sex trafficking. Please send me a link to that. I would love to do a story on that. Can I see your post, Punisher? You betcha. Maybe Derek Kaya would rather do time with feds than face retaliation from possible cult members associated with devil worship and evil intentions. What do you think? He wouldn't have to do time in the feds. He wouldn't have, if he was that worried about it, they very easily could have said, I want witness relocation. They're famous for doing that. I mean, witness relocation deals with people that want to give testimony but think they'll be killed. They'll give you a new identity, a new place to live, and believe it or not, a job setup that you really don't have to do a whole lot of work for. They don't let you work for other people. They're afraid you'll tell them stuff. They'll literally buy you a business. Yeah, that's the spirit, Australia. Why do you think the worst sheriff in history won't let the Cajun Navy search? Ego? God forbid, right? These people find something and it takes away from him. Why isn't EquiSearch out there? And his rationale, according to him, is twofold. One is, have you had any time to check out any ancient sites in Ecuador? Going to be doing it this summer, and I mean your summer. It's summer right here in Ecuador. But around July and August, we're going to be doing a run where we go and check out a lot of ancient sites, and we're also going to be heading over to the Galapagos Islands. He doesn't want his rationale. He said he didn't want people traipsing through private property because when you look at homes in the Catalina foothills, you're going to see like a concrete wall that goes around the pool area and all of these things, right? That's not just your property. That's 3/4 of an acre that's sitting on your 5 acres because the rest of the property allows animals to run through it. They didn't want to build properties that were going to cut down on animals' ability to migrate and do what they do in their hunting patterns, which I think is lovely, right? But I don't think that anyone was going to I do not support the United Cajun Navy. That is, there are other organizations that are much better that have CN name. Cajun Navy. Look, I'm not saying they're good or bad. I honestly, I won't argue with you on that. EquiSearch is fantastic. But I'm absolutely blown away that, first of all, no one in the Catalina foothills would say, I'm pissed off that you're looking behind my fence. I promise you. Everybody in the Catalina foothills wants this over, and they want to know what happened to her. That's one. Once they pushed back on that, he said, we don't want you traipsing over a crime scene. How funny is that one? How would one go about trying to determine if there's a hidden camera or microphone inside their home, not owned? I'm being legit, not merely paranoid. Every city that I've been to in the United States in a while, right, would have a local spy shop. In the last city that I lived in, it was called Scotland Yard. You can go in and buy a device. They're very, very small. They're very, very inexpensive, and they will tell you where infrared is. Anywhere where an IR device is working, most of those cameras are IR. I know gas will go down again, but in Vegas, I had an 80-cent spike. Oh, I believe that. I absolutely believe that. Sorry, don't know how to look up links, but I say you can Google or read something. It's all over the news. Sorry, my friend. Little Redneck, I'm not sure what you're saying, but I believe you. Don't know if you think the FBI knows it's Tommaso by now, but they're just building evidence on the co-conspirators. That's a possibility. It's also a possibility that they can absolutely love him for this case, but they don't believe that there is enough evidence at this point to be able to prosecute. It's not enough to know somebody did something. You have to be able to prove it. And very often, like if you watch interrogations, if you're into true crime, you'll see somebody come in and they're like, it's obvious to you, it's obvious to them. And the person says, I'm out of here, getting up and walking out. If they say you can leave anytime you want, it's because you're not under arrest. And if that person gets up and walks out, which they should do before they start talking, there's not enough evidence to, like the FBI had me in for the bank robberies. I can't tell you how many times. And they let me walk out the last time. And then the next morning, They came with every single law enforcement in the entire planet to arrest me. Tommy, I'm ultra liberal, fully vaxxed, and guess what? I'm one of your newest and biggest fans. You bridge the divides, know your stuff, and you're for real. And you never make me feel unwelcome. Well, that's because you're welcome. I don't care what your political opinions are as long as they don't taint your opinions on other things. And by the way, from a social standpoint, I'm one of the most liberal people you'll ever meet. I think drugs ought to be legalized, not really a right-wing thing. There's an awful lot that I believe very left on. However, financially, I believe very right and have studied it, and that's what I believe. But I don't have a problem with anybody's political opinions as long as every time somebody turns up missing, the person doesn't go, the Republicans kidnapped her. That kind of shit drives me nuts. Or we're doing this to cover up the Epstein trial. I mean, the Epstein files. You know, the stuff that's patently absurd. I don't care what your political affiliation is. If you're an ideologue on the right, I hate you. If you're an ideologue on the left, I hate you. And I'm using the word hate intentionally. I know it's ugly. Do you think they will ever find Nancy? They will find her, in my humble opinion, but they will find the person that did it first because they love to cut deals. Body fluids. Could Nancy have had an accident earlier and needed to be cleaned up and the caregiver snapped? Yeah, but probably not at 2:00 in the morning, right? I do believe the timeline. I don't think it's 100% accurate, but I believe that she left that house after 2:00 in the morning. I don't think there was a caregiver in there that late. My understanding is the caregivers showed up during the week, right? And they did it during week hours. They were there to help clean up, do things like that. Thank you so much, Snooki. I really appreciate it. Is it her body? It is not. It is a 42-year-old woman. It was a 42-year-old woman by the name of Alex Fleming. They found her on March 6th, right? And on the 8th, they figured out who it was. So, but and notified the Fleming family. At 42 years old, I promise you they didn't think it was Nancy Guthrie when they found her. If she had been in the water, that's a possibility because people bloat and it becomes very difficult to determine age. Sometimes it's even hard to determine sex, right? There's parts of your body that get chewed on and you blow up so badly. I'm not trying to be gross, but you see necks that are this big around, right? You get waterlogged and it's very difficult. I worked on an ambulance and there was somebody that got lost in the water. And when they went out and finally found this person, when they went to pull them in, part of the person's arm came off in their hand. Water does incredibly horrible things to a body, but they did not find this person in a canal. They found this person near a canal. I think he doesn't want searchers because there's a lot of bodies in that desert and the sheriff doesn't want the whole world knowing his county is the Wild West. You know what? It's not a bad theory, Shaker Maker. It really isn't. It's a possibility. You're a cool dude and you love your wife. I do love my wife. Wasn't the family cleared, Admiral? Yeah, the family was absolutely cleared according to Sheriff Nanos. 100%. So let me say this. 100% he cleared the family for the second time. The first time he cleared the family, it was 5 days into the investigation, maybe 4 days into the investigation. He came out and said the family had nothing to do with this. Within 30 hours, they had a evidence team that spent 5 days at the cleared people's houses, taking photos, pulling out evidence bags. They seized the clear people's car, which they did not get back. Luke Daly's car got seized, was back within a week. They've had, I don't know in the last 3 days, but as of 3 days ago, they had that car close to a month and had not returned it. So he's saying this out of one side of his mouth, but all of the actions scream something completely different, right? They are very much being treated by way of looking at the investigation as if they are suspects. And until he can give me some details, the smart thing to do would be to come out. SoCal friend, to the best of my knowledge, the 42-year-old lady was not reported missing. From what I researched on that, she was not reported missing. Very often, sad to say, the people that end up in those positions are throwaways. And I don't believe they're throwaways. I was a junkie. But you understand what I mean by that. It's look at serial killers and who they kill. You know what? I love this. I love this. Prayers for the Fleming family, right? For real. Very often these people they're people that won't be noticed missing, right? I'm the Long Island serial killer case, right? The Gilgo Beach case. And they hire prostitutes, right? Prostitutes go missing. It's a sad thing, but it is absolutely the truth, right? They go missing. And, Ted, look at all of the different serial Green River Killer. So many of these people target the vulnerable because if a prostitute goes missing, and this is absolutely evident big time in Long Island, they went and told the police, hey, my daughter's missing, right? She was a call girl. Oh, she's a prostitute. Prostitutes go missing, right? She's probably just out partying and sleeping with people for money. They completely discounted the family. And if the family didn't stay in the press's face, nothing ever would have been done about it. But they were every chance they got getting in front of a camera and saying, my daughter, and when somebody in the press would go, she was a sex worker, correct? The mother would go, who cares what she did for work? So she's not worth finding. She's not worth investigating. I think they're investigating the fraudulent paperwork regarding Luke Daly's Rover and MG Motors more than they are Luke. Honey, I agree with you 100%. The Iceman practiced on prostitutes for that reason. Absolutely. It's a sad way to look at it, but it is the truth. Nanos is a nitwit. Perhaps he should listen to Tommy or maybe use ChatGTP. 75% of kidnappings involve someone the victim knows, family or acquaintance, and 25 or less involved strangers. You know what? You're absolutely right, Mary. And I put that through 7 AI models, and the majority of them actually say 80%. But it is hello, Ruth Ann. Someone at Savannah's job did it so they could get her job. Interesting. She was off sick for 5 weeks right before Nancy was abducted with throat surgery. Correct. It has been said some were hoping she didn't come back. You know something? It is as logical a theory as I've heard people come up with. I'm playing the numbers, but absolutely there is an excellent chance that when this comes down, pay attention, everybody. When this comes down, it's not going to be Neckbeard. When this comes down, it could be somebody that had the erotomania where they're so focused on her that in their head, she knows that they did this. In their head, they have a relationship together. If they were to go into that house, they would probably just grab a mirror off of the refrigerator, or they would grab a sock or something that was like, this was somehow related to Savannah Guthrie. It's hard to look at this case and not believe that this was without a doubt associated or caused by her fame. I don't think anybody went and grabbed an 84-year-old woman for no reason. Yeah, there is a lawsuit. It may have been reported on today. I actually talked about it a while back, but he's being sued for over $1 million. By way of full disclosure, I knew inmates that had 70 lawsuits going at any given time, right? They're called paper terrorists, and they're people that file all the time, and they're going to list the head of the Bureau of Prisons. They'll list all the way up to the president if it's a federal case. But so as much as I can't stand Nanos, there are some other lawsuits against him that I think are a lot more legit. Anytime an inmate files a lawsuit, I kind of just want to go, yeah, well, inmates file lawsuits. They got nothing but time on their hands. They're allowed to go to the law library even during lockdowns. They file lawsuits, and they get good at it, right? Yes, they did. They disregarded her, and others have lost their lives because of it. You're damn right. If you follow that case, they could have had this thing hemmed up a long time before they did. They knew the vehicle. They knew it was an avalanche. I'm going to be doing a show on that, so I don't want to spoil too much of it. But that's a case we all ought to be looking at because it is heartbreaking. Yeah, somebody else just said this, Tracy, and I think that there's some legit to this. However, just by way of full disclosure, when the Cajun group showed up, they had a plan for searching, and it wasn't out in the Pima Desert. They wanted to search the Catalina foothills, right? So Nanos didn't want them doing that because they were going to contaminate a crime scene. Still haven't locked down the crime scene where she was kidnapped. They let people walk up to the front. There is allegedly merchandise. Absolutely, there's allegedly merchandise. So I understand what you're saying, but the bodies that are out there aren't going to be in the Catalina foothills, right? The bodies that are out there, without a shadow of a doubt, are going to be out in the Pima Desert, right? Which, if you take that square miles, it's bigger than Connecticut, right? It's way bigger than Rhode Island. Some people are saying it's bigger than both combined. I don't know that. But it is a massive stretch of nothingness, right, between Mexico and the United States of America. And you know what? Yeah, and you got to go allegedly when you lift up your coffee mug. It's the right thing to do, people. And I do say allegedly. When you robbed banks, were you in disguise? Wonder how cops knew it was you. I got told on. I hadn't robbed a bank in literally years when I got hemmed up. It had been over 2 years since I had robbed a bank. Somebody told on me, who actually didn't even know I robbed banks, but it got them onto me. And I wore disguises. I wore makeup. I wore stuff on my head. I did all kinds of stuff to make me look different. I wore lifts in my shoes. I wore things to make me look thicker. But you can't hide hands this big, right? Which is sad, but I swear everything tastes best in my allegedly mug. I believe that 100%. I use one my damn self. So yeah, the way that I got hemmed up was somebody ratted on me. And that person had robbed 2 banks. And I've actually watched, I still have their interrogation. I won't show it. I don't know the legality of that, but I have his investigation. It's never been released. But they said to him, "Did you rob this bank?" He said, "Yes." It took him about 2 seconds to fold. And they said, "And did you rob this other one?" He said, "Yes." They said, "So you're a bank robber, man." And he went, and you could see the light bulb. He goes, "No, I'm not a bank robber, but I can give you one. I can turn you on to a real bank robber." And he did. If there were no pings from that night for a cell phone, what about the other nights? That's a great concept. It really is. They should be doing geofencing, and I would like to believe that they are, right? So if you're unfamiliar with this is your theory, I kind of like it, but are you throwing out a "this is my theory"? Holly Stalker. Okay, was planning her kidnapping with an America Online friend who turned out to be U.S. law enforcement, and they informed English authorities. This kind of stuff actually happens a lot. It's very difficult to have partners that don't turn you in. It really is, especially when things get scary, right? It happens all of the time, right? All the time. How much grace did that get him? Oh, ain't that the question? He was facing 60 months in prison. He got 52 months in prison. So he sent me away for a very, very long time to get 8 months off his sentence. I just sang it and all my dogs came running. It didn't get him a lot of grace. And it didn't make him real popular with the fellas either. Lacey Silver, you are in my thoughts and prayers, my friend, on a daily basis. God bless you, and I'm glad that you are here. That's what she said, Reese. His hands comment. No, I got you, Joey girl. Yeah, believe it or not, among the FBI, they were calling me the Hand. How's that? How long did you serve, Tommy? Altogether, 13 years. 13 years of my life. However, that was not just for bank robbery, full disclosure. That was for bank robbery, possession of stolen property, and I was selling firearms illegally. And that was entrapment. But when you're the person I am, they're not even going to allow you to bring that up. But I was at my house doing drugs, hanging out, and a guy came to my door and said, "I know so-and-so, so-and-so, and so-and-so." And they said, "You would have money to buy something that was stolen." And I said, "What do you got?" And he said, "I have a truck full of guns, a truck full of guns." And it could have been silver. It could have been gold. It could have been diamonds. It could have been watches. If you bring by something that's worth 150 grand and you want $5,000 for it, I was a criminal at that time in my life. And everything equated to how much dope can this buy me if I sell it all? I was a heroin addict. So I bought 6 figures worth of guns. I mean, incredibly valuable collection of guns for about $5 grand, right? 7,500, something like that by the time it was all said and done. And I bought it. I was never really a gun guy, but now I got to get rid of a huge cache of weapons. However, the guy that came there was working for the feds. And the nice thing is, I didn't have to worry about selling it to terrorists or anything like that, because that guy said, he came back about 4 days later and said, "I know some guys that might want to buy those. I should have sold them myself, but I can introduce you." And he introduced me to a federal agent to buy the guns from me. So I bought them from the feds and I sold them to the feds, which absolutely, by way of full disclosure, is entrapment. Any updates today in the Nancy case? Just that person down in in Phoenix, is not her. It was a 42-year-old woman named Fleming, Alex Fleming. The other update is that prison did save my life 100%. Make no mistake. Best thing that ever happened to me. It was. They're the green box that everybody has near their house that carries all of the cables for cable television, for your internet, for your everything, right? The fiber optic lines that come in. Those boxes seem to have been messed with in the neighborhood, which would explain things going out probably more than would a jammer. Yeah, I was. That's how I got sucked into it, to be sure. And it is textbook entrapment. Can you tell us the Home Depot story again? I robbed a lot of Home Depots. I robbed a awful lot of Home Depots, and I robbed them in a lot of ways. One of the ways that I did it, and I'm not telling people how to rob Home Depots, so here's my full disclosure. I'm sure they have closed this loophole anyway, but I used to take that expansion foam and I would go to the back door. And you know how it says, if you open this door, an alarm will go off? The alarm is built into the door. It's right there. I would take the expansion foam right off of their shelf, right, pushing around big stuff, and I would spray that foam in there, and it would go, and it hardens over the course of about 5 minutes. And then I would go back and kick the door open, and it would go, You wouldn't hear anything. And my boy, Jack, would be back there with the truck, and we would load everything up. And I took about $1.5 million worth of stuff out of Home Depot over the course of time. And not trying to sound like a social justice warrior, but I picked Home Depot because of the fact Chris McDonough checked on his episode last night and checked again. Annie and Tommaso's car was still with law enforcement. Thank you, Shaker Maker. I knew that as of 3 days ago. But I eventually got caught. One day I went in and they tackled me before I got anywhere near anything. And I said to them, you guys are lost. I was carrying 2 tool kits full of about $1,000 a piece full of rechargeable tools. And they tackled me to the ground and beat the piss out of me. And I was like, took a check out of my pocket that said Home Depot on it. I'm like, you guys are idiots. And they go, yeah. And they took me to the back. And when I walked into the back, the entire wall was pictures of me in like 50 different outfits. I mean, they were tracking my happy ass. I was hitting 5 different Home Depots. And I started it right after Katrina, when it was announced that they had raised the prices of everything in Home Depot, knowing that they could make more money on it. They raised the price of plywood by like $5 a sheet or something, so that they could make money off of all the people that were suffering during Katrina. And I was like, I got to rob people anyway. It seemed like they were a good target. But when I went into court for my arraignment, if you've never been arraigned on something, you can't plead guilty on your arraignment. They have to do what's called a pre-sentence investigation so they can mitigate it, right? Even if it doesn't come up at trial, you can mitigate it. Like, because at trial, you can't say I'm a heroin addict. Can't blame me. But at sentencing, you can say, I'm not this guy. I only did it because I'm a junkie, right? This was the roof man. Not sure if I know who the roof man was, but my public defender, she ran the whole public defender's office, and she was actually a great lawyer. But she came up and said, you need to, Share Bear, sorry for your loss. I'm terribly sorry. She came up and said, you need to plead guilty today. How large an area does geofencing take up? It depends, but they can do most of the Catalina foothills in one shot. What they're doing is going between 3 towers, right? Because you have to triangulate for everything, but they can do the Catalina foothills. So I said, she goes, you have to plead guilty today, right? Today. And I said, why would I do that? And she said, because there's no representative of Home Depot here. And if they're not here, you cannot, there's no chance in hell that anybody can ask you to pay any of this back, because I was going to be looking at about $1.5 million to pay back. She's like, you need to plead guilty today. And I did. And ended up dodging a massive bullet on how much I would have owed Home Depot. Feel pretty good about that, because Home Depot sucks. If you were hypothetically to have done this, where would you have taken her, close by or out of state? I would never have driven somebody out of state. If it was me, I don't like driving around dirty. And that's the term that criminals use. You're riding dirty, right? If you're riding around with drugs, I hated that. I didn't like riding around with drugs. I wanted my drugs delivered. And I wanted nothing more in life than to not be in a car where I was doing something wrong, right? Actually, Johnny should be president. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't allow me to be president. Tommy, here's a question. Anyone know if Nancy still gets a newspaper? Some of us old folks still do, and the paper guy comes late night, bright early morning. Just a thought. It's a great thought. It's a great thought. And I don't know the answer to that. But I would definitely want her, if it were me and I was doing this, and again, I never would, But like when I robbed a bank, believe it or not, my final location, like where I was going to go to a hotel or anything like that, it was never more than a couple of miles away. And I would have a stash car. I stole the car I was robbing the bank with, and I would jump out of that car and get into a rental car. And that stash car was in a neighborhood no more than 1.5 miles from the bank. I don't want to ride dirty. I don't want to spend a lot of time riding around. You're going through a light with an 84-year-old woman in the back, and some drunk driver runs the light and hits you. You're caught. You're caught. Your car's fantastic, but you start driving down the road and your back light goes out, right? Your tail light flickers out. They go out. This is something that happens. Your fuse blows. Cop pulls you over for having a tail light out, and they find Nancy Guthrie in your car. You eliminate everything that can get you busted stupidly, right? You make sure that your license plate doesn't have a sticker that's out on it, right? Recently, when I was in the United States of America, I was riding with a guy and he goes, "Hey, do you want to get high?" And my brother and I were like, "No." Right? Why? No. And he goes, "Well, sorry." He's like, we'll do lunch. He's a nice guy. We're talking to him about a business deal, a legit business deal. We get out at the restaurant. I looked at my brother and went, his sticker on his plate is 3 years expired. 3 years. So when we got inside, I said, what do you have for drugs? And he goes, it's just weed. And I go, God help us, man. I go, you don't have a lot of it. He's like, there's a pound in the trunk. He's like, but I go, your plate's 3 years out and there's a pound. Johnny and I got in a cab. I'm like, I'm not riding home with you, bro. I said, no, there's no way I'm riding home. I'll get back to the hotel without you. That car gets pulled over and they're going to go, I need your ID, and your ID. Whose ID do you think they're going to jump on? Huh? You think it's going to be these two upstanding citizens, or is it going to be the guy that used to rob banks? I said, yeah, we'll take a cab, man. We'll take a cab. I'm done. I've not had a newspaper in years. A lot of people haven't. Right? A lot of people haven't, but that's a hell of a question. It really is. That is a hell of a question. Little Redneck, I'm with you. I'm glad to be out of that life. I can't tell you how much. At least once every 3 days, my brother will say to me, how much better is life when you don't commit crime? It's no matter how bad your day is, you get up in the morning and just go, ugh, right? I don't need a shot. I'm not worried about the cops. I'm really beginning to believe the sheriff is involved, maybe not with the kidnapping, but with someone got to him so that he would interfere and slow things down. He can't be as stupid as he acts. It's not a bad comment. Die Ugly Harvey mentioned anything about Nancy lately? No, right now I'm not sure. A body was found in New York City. What does it mean? Not a whole hell of a lot of anything, Gary, in SoCal. Yeah, there will be bodies found in every state in the union today. Also, one of the streamers, Mark Shark, spotted a paper delivery guy, had a white Kia. Wow. Late night at a store by Nancy's house. Don't know if it's connected, but maybe the car that passed by. Very interesting. How long have I been out? I got out right during COVID. So I've been out going on 7 years, 6.5 years. Yeah, bodies are always found in New York City on the regular. But I think he was being funny, and it is actually fairly funny. But look, if a body is found, this is, by my count, this is the fourth person that they said may have been her. If the person looks 80, I can understand why it's worth talking about. If the person looks like they're 42, then people are doing this just to get views. And I'd like to get up quickly on this and tell you that don't believe the hype. Gary, are you being a dick? Because if you are, man, that's going to bum me out. I've covered this already a couple of times. The body that they found that people have been reporting on and asking me, you don't do this for a living, but you can't imagine what it's like when somebody asks you this 100 times a day. I put up this thumbnail so that all the people that are sending me emails saying they found her in Phoenix. The person that they found in Phoenix is 42 years old. Her name is Alex Fleming, and she did not get identified until the 8th, right? By my math, today is the 9th. So in the last 24 hours, we can dispel the hundreds of emails and comments I get that people who say they found her in Phoenix. This is what I do for a living. It's not fun. It really isn't, especially when the same questions are asked again and again and again. And I try to be patient as hell with it, but it comes up on every single one of my lives, and it comes up in every single one of the comment sections, and I get emails. So if my title bummed you out, you go just past the water cooler on the left and you'll see the exit sign. But this is what I have to do, right? It is not her. It is a 42-year-old woman. I'm offended by that because she wasn't found in the water. So a lot of people knew that this person could not be her. right? The people that, especially people who are down there that can get access. I'm in South America. It gets a little tough to get Phoenix on the phone, right? It's not hard to get Tucson on the phone because they're getting so many calls from around the planet that they've got people sitting there and waiting. But Phoenix wasn't taking calls. I couldn't do anything on this until it was announced. So it was announced this morning, which is why I'm here talking about it. I know what you mean. To me, I wake up in the morning and not look over my back for people I owe money to. AVAC, tell me it isn't a beautiful thing, man. I do handle redundancy daily. I don't know if I do it better, but I do handle it nonstop. I don't know how many times I handled the "this is just covering Epstein" thing before it finally went away. And at the end, I was losing my mind. Oh, yeah, I know how you feel. Yes, little redneck knows how I feel as well. I get called a drug addict every other day. But you know what? Jesus is getting me out of all that. Yeah, I have a great T-shirt that says, if you want to talk to me about my past, you should know that Jesus dropped all the charges. I am one of the few people in the world that, look, man, my sins are out here for the world to see. I've talked about everything. If you hear something that someone is saying about me, go back and watch my early days. If I didn't talk about it, it didn't happen. If you have my record, you can't really fart around. You just need to tell people what you've done. And if they can deal with that, they can deal with that. I was a dirtbag for decades. If that's too much for you, just pass the water cooler on the left. Feel me? That's right, honeybee. That's absolutely right. He paid the tab. I should have to rot in hell for the things that I've done, but my tab is paid by my Lord and Savior. If that offends you, that's the same door by that water cooler. All right, people, I'm going to wrap it up on that because it's not a bad thing to wrap up on. I will be going live at 9:05 tonight. Good Lord willing, and the power doesn't go out. By the way, we have already ordered the equipment to make sure that we never deal with another power outage. But they're not often. Honestly, the entire time I've been here, there's been 5. Unfortunately, 3 of them have been in this month. Right. When it gets hotter, it's kind of an issue because a lot of people run their AC around the clock. All right. So if you're just tuning in right here at the end, it's not Nancy Guthrie. Her name is Alex. And Alex Fleming, thoughts and prayers with her family. Yeah. Part 2 for the Church of Scientology should be tonight or tomorrow night. I have to check with the Wiffle. She's had a lot going on this morning. Christy Wolf, thank you. Angie Barnes, good to see you. Your beagle got skunked this morning. Tomato paste. Tomato paste will get that out of your beagle. Take this from a kid that grew up in the sticks. The only thing that will get that off of a dog or a cat is tomato paste. Nothing else will. Wash that beagle in tomato paste. And for the love of God, film it, because that's just funny stuff. Yeah, see that? Tomato juice and then soap. Yep. That water cooler is getting popular today. You're damn right it is. And I was waiting on a couple of people to recommend for the water cooler, and they didn't show up. Maybe they'll be here tonight because I'm looking forward to it. I'm Tommy. I will see you on the next one. Between now and then, pray for the Guthrie family and absolutely for the Fleming family. You know what, Ruth Ann? I love the smell of skunk, too. You're the only other person I've ever heard say that. I love the smell. You got your dead skunk in the middle of the road. All right, people, I'm Tommy. We'll see you on the next one. God bless and thank you for your support, keeping free speech alive. Bye-bye.